12 Most Unusual Extreme Sports. Number 12. Wife Carrying Championship. Each year in the country of Finland, some intense competition takes place. Couples from around the world come to compete, and this can really test the strength of one's relationship. The husbands literally place the wives on their shoulders, and they run as fast as they possibly can through the grueling obstacle courses in the Finnish town of Sankijärvi. Some will have to walk through water, hurdle over logs, and then sprint to the finish line. This guy better be sure not to drop his wife, or he'll most likely be sleeping on the couch tonight. The winning couple in the 2016 competition was actually from Russia that we see here. They'll enjoy the first place prize, which is actually his wife's weight in beer. Number 11. Mud Wrestling. Wrestling is a pretty well-known sport, but mud wrestling can get quite dirty at times. We decided to put this on the list because why not? Here in this photo, we see some women from the UK who claim it's an excellent way to stay in shape and have added it to their workout routine. Not only does it require some strength, but you can't be much of a girly girl to participate. If you're worried about getting your shirt stained or your fingernail broken, this isn't the sport for you. These bizarre sporting events can take place at bars on ladies' nights, and the championship can normally win a pretty good prize. Maybe these ladies from the UK can make a profession out of it. Number 10. ChessBoxing. This sport takes brain, brawn, and a good pain tolerance. It consists of 11 rounds, 6 of chess and 5 of boxing. The chess rounds last 4 minutes, while the boxing rounds last 3 minutes. Fighters can win by knocking out their opponent, getting a checkmate, or if their opponent runs out of time. It's gotta be pretty hard to think while these boxers are getting smacked around in the head. Chess and boxing are both battle-oriented games, so combining the two seems to make sense, right? The female version of the sport has also gained popularity in recent years, as we see in this photo of this boxer named Ruthie, concentrating closely on her next move. Number 9. Snail Racing. Has your snail been training to the absolute limit and is now just a straight-up savage speed machine? While some French people might think these guys look tasty, other people in the UK might look at them and realize the potential for a high-octane sport. Each participant is placed within the circle at the beginning of the race, and they're off. Each snail speeds to the finish line, and the first one to completely cross the circle is the winner. The creators of this insane sport hope that someday it'll be featured in the Olympics. The winner gets to celebrate in a lettuce-filled trophy. Still seems more interesting than English soccer though, right? Number 8. Cricket Fighting. Snails aren't the only bugs that get put to use in sporting events. Crickets do too, and it's kind of a big deal in China. You can actually train crickets to be vicious fighters, and some highly trained ones can sell to other collectors for as much as $2,000. This is almost like a cricket fight club. Rule number 1 of Cricket Fight Club is, you don't talk about Cricket Fight Club. That's a lot for a bug who only has a lifespan of about 3 to 4 months. There's no doubt about it, money is to be made with this sport, especially with gambling. It's also a tradition in China too, and the origins date back to about 1000 AD. Each year, over 20 teams come to compete in the World Cricket Fighting Championship. Some crickets can get pretty large, and customers will listen to how loud the chirping noise is to judge whether or not they may be the next heavyweight championship of cricket fighting. Number 7. Gurning Championship. The definition of what's exactly a sport these days seems to become less and less physically demanding. However, reimagine those who participate in the gurning contest gets a pretty good face workout in the end. Gurning is basically giving someone a really strange, ugly look to the point where it just looks absolutely ridiculous. Almost like the opposite of a beauty pageant. These take place in the UK during a crab festival. Origins can date it back to as far as 1267 AD in order to amuse the nobles. This guy in the photo looks like he could really use some laxatives. Number 6. Zorbing. You might not have ever heard about zorbing before, but this sport is becoming increasingly popular in modern times. It's basically like a race, but instead of a car or other types of automobiles being put to use, they use giant plastic balls called zorbs, which can reach pretty high speeds. Although not much physical activity is required, it's listed as an extreme sport. It is pretty extreme, and it's not uncommon for people to get pretty dizzy afterwards, as you can probably imagine. In 2014, a zorb was specifically designed for a Nissan, and it reached a speed of 20 miles an hour going downhill. Number 5. Ostrich Racing. It may come to a surprise to many of you, but ostrich racing has been around since the times of the ancient Egyptians. Ostriches can reach intense speeds of 43 miles an hour, so it's certainly a little more fast-paced than horse racing. Here we see 2 jockeys suited up at an annual ostrich racing festival in Arizona, and you better believe those helmets are going to come in handy. The guy in the blue helmet falls off pretty quickly, and it's quite the challenge to compete in this sport. First of all, you need an ostrich, which we imagine isn't easy to come by. And then you have to constantly put up with falling off these birds. And then when you do fall off, be prepared to get trampled on. Others might choose to go an easier route and take a chariot. Number 4. Extreme ironing. Ironing is no longer just for women and now becoming a much more extreme sport. Finding the most bizarre and unusual place to get this household chore done is now becoming somewhat of an extreme sport. This competitor here named Kevin hiked up the side of this cliff to make sure his t-shirt is wrinkle-free. Some might perform these stunts on places like canoes, on top of a house, or even underwater like we see here. The first competition was actually held in a small village near Munich with 3 categories: urban, water, rocky, forest, and freestyle, where anything goes. Number 3. Volcano Snowboarding. So you've looked into snowboarding and it just wasn't for you. You preferred things to be a little bit more heated up while you're risking your life. Well, it seems that volcano boarding could be right up your alley. Instead of cruising down a hill with snow, you're basically doing the same thing, but with volcanic ash. In 2015, photographers captured some images from people participating in this extreme sport on an erupting volcano in Indonesia. We'll hope this guy didn't fall down or get eaten up by hot lava. Number 2. Kayaking. Yeah, sure, we've heard of kayaking before, but that's for pure wussies. The only way to enjoy your time is on one of these plastic boats. The only way to enjoy your time on one of these plastic boats is by free-falling 60 miles an hour after jumping out of an airplane that's 13,000 feet in the air. Wide kayaks are made to help add stability to free-fallers, but there's certainly a lot of things that can go wrong here. Hardcore kayakers will pull their parachutes at twice the height of a normal parachuter, just in case something goes wrong. The landing part seems to be the coolest, as they try to normally land on some type of body of water. This photo shows a kayaker named Miles, who's been doing this for 8 years, and he's landing on a stream in Florida. And number 1. Mountain Unicycling. Who wants to ride down a mountain with a bike these days? Ain't no one got time for 2 wheels. The only true extreme way to do this is to take a unicycle, of course, and imagine it doesn't get too much crazier than this. This German adrenaline junkie gets a rush from being on top of a mountain with his unique skill of being able to ride a unicycle. This might include catching some serious air on the way down. Ever since extreme unicycles were made that can handle mountainous terrains, a subculture developed, and you better believe they got some buff calves. Practicers of this sport claim that it's extremely physically demanding, and it also requires people to use nearly every muscle in their body.
Hey guys, thanks for watching, and be sure to hit that subscribe button for new videos every day.